much on its own, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just amazing, again, the level of performance you get in a car like this today.
I know, from 2 liters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect family car with a guy who likes his enthusiast, but needs, you know, just has one car for the family and everything, and this kind of does it all.
Yeah, checks a lot of boxes.
Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage, the car featuring today 2024 Acura Integra Type S. You know, this is a segment that I've sort of been remiss in this website. We get so caught up on all the supercars and all the exotic stuff and some of the classics. We get some of the great cars that are out there. And this is one of them, 320 horsepower from 2 liters, front wheel drive, 6-speed manual gearbox, and there's no automatic available. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, a real enthusiast car. Let's meet Jonathan Rivers. Jonathan, you're the program director, program manager?
Yeah, you know, product planning is our division.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, this is a true hot rod. You know, I remember when this segment of car was just sort of the grocery getter and the nice car for the family. But this is really pretty cool because you have a true sports sedan with 320 horsepower from 2 liters. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, with the body style here, you know, it's a lift gate design. You can carry your stuff, your friends, and also hit the back road and have a lot of great driving.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, I'm one of those people, if I'm hauling wood, I'll take a station wagon, a sports car. We live in an era now where cars pretty much do everything. You know, with the hatchback, you can put a sheet of lumber in there from Home Depot,
yeah,
and you can carry 4 kids. And cars kind of do everything now, you know, because I was never a fan of the SUV because it just seemed, it was just too many things. I like my cars to be, when I eat, my steak is on this side, peas are on this side, but I don't like it all mashed together, you know. But that's the world we live in now. Everything seems to be an SUV. And it's a good-looking car. It looks, it's not intimidating, but it looks sort of effective, I guess is what the word I would say. 320 horsepower, that used to be the top of the line 20 years ago. And now it's just sort of, okay, this is where we start, you know, so it's pretty amazing. What is the natural competition for this car? Would it be, what else is in this segment?
So, yeah, it is a smaller segment, but, you know, we're going to look at things like the Audi S3,
right,
the BMW M235i, CLA 35 AMG, so kind of small, sport, compact segment on the premium side. And, you know, given, like you said, it being a 6-speed manual transmission, it's the only one that offers that.
And the thing I like about this car, like my NSX, it's an American car, all built in America, and not assembled in America, built in America. Because in the old days, to get around that, they would ship stuff in boxes, and the Americans put it together, and they call it an American car. But engine, everything is made right here, right?
Yep, built in Marysville, Ohio. So, right, yeah, that's actually, you know, Acura's home base for manufacturing. So all of our models are assembled and built in Marysville, Ohio. So.
Yeah, so that makes it, for all intents and purposes, an American car, even though designed in Japan, but then built here, engine, everything else. So very cool.
So, I mean, there's a lot going on, Jay. I mean, you know, like you said, you had a NSX, and so for us, you know, we brought back Type S, right? That was a moniker we used in the 90s to offer, you know, performance in the Acura brand. And so when we brought that on the NSX, that served as the halo.
Right.
But now NSX production is finished, and so this is kind of our new entry halo into the brand, right? So this is offering Type S levels of performance, like you were saying, for someone coming in, and you know, this car is priced at $50,800. That's MSRP. So it's a very attractive pricing to, you know, come in and get, like you said, 320 horsepower. Even have a limited slip differential to help put that power down up front, and so. It's a lot of performance for the money and for what you're getting, but it's staying true to the Type S branding.
Yeah, I can remember when the Italians went to front-wheel drive with the Lancia years ago, and they said you could never put more than 200 horsepower through the front wheels because of torque steer and everything. And then Oldsfield came out with the Tornado with 370 horsepower. That blew that out of the water. And I have to admit, I've always been kind of a rear-wheel snob, you know, but then I've driven a few front-wheel drive sedans, and it's pretty amazing. The way the suspension is set up, you're not getting that torque steer. It's not pulling to the left, to the right. You know, it's quite good. I haven't driven this yet, but I'm very anxious to try it. And I got to admit, it's a good-looking car. I mean, the interior is not that different from my NSX.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to bring down a lot of those components from the Halo. So, you know, we'll get to the engine here, but when you see that, it has this, you know, red engine cover, which harkens to our NSX Type S. You know, you'll see the ultra suede seats inside, so, you know, like the NSX.
Yeah.
And so
my NSX is one of the best built cars I've ever driven in terms of whether people like it or don't like it. That's just based on what you like. I like it a lot, but I'm amazed at how structurally sound it is. There's never any cowl shake. There's never any, you go over bumps, it doesn't feel like you're getting punched in the kidney, you know. I mean, it's really solid. It revs all day long, plenty of horsepower, V6, a very impressive car. And I'm sure this is probably pretty much along the same line.
Well, one thing that is really unique about this car, like you mentioned the chassis and the suspension, it has what we call a dual axis suspension geometry, which keeps the power, you know, to the ground, no wheel hop, no torque steer. I think you'll see that when you drive it. But I mean, again, given that, you know, where Integras used to be and Sport Compacts used to be, I mean, if you take a look at the wheel and tire package on this thing, Jay, there's 265,
right.
30 ZR19 Michelin Pilot Sport 4S summer tires, you know, massive 19-inch wheels, 9.5 inches in width, and then up front you'll see those massive 4-piston Brembo calipers up front. So, you know, the chassis, the braking package, the wheel and tire package on this car is incredible for what you're getting in this segment.
That's something I like about manufacturing. It's fairly recent that manufacturers like Honda will go to someone who makes what they consider a better brake. It's like, I guess they call it boutique engineering, where you pick the best of, you design your motor, your transmission. Brembo's probably better at brakes than we are. Let's go with Brembo, let's go. You know, you don't get that. No, we make our, you know, it just seems a bit laborious, and this way it's smarter. Plus it gives the car a certain cachet. You've got the Italian brakes with the Japanese, you know, I like it. I think it's very cool. Now the base Honda version of this is what, 190 horsepower with this motor?
So the standard Acura Integra is 200 horsepower.
Okay, 200.
192 pound-feet of torque.
Okay.
So it's a significant upgrade, you know, going to the Type S. So.
And this is the first year with 320 horse, right?
Yeah, this is the first Integra Type S, and it is, you know, launching as a 2024 model year.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost not quite double the horsepower, but
yeah, it's another 120 horsepower over the standard Integra.
It's impressive. And why the going with manual only? I mean, I think it's great, and I'm all for that. The more manuals we get out there, the better. It's just amazing that a company as large as Honda, which sells that many cars, you figure you sell 1 out of 10 is a manual, something like that. So to make this, they're truly going for the enthusiast market, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even the regular Integra, you can get a 6-speed manual. That one does have an automatic, a CVT option, but with this, knowing that, he said, we're going after enthusiasts, we wanted the ultimate in driver engagement. I mean, what better? And the 6-speed manual on this is, you know, got to be one of the best in the business. We have, you know, rev matching, you know, a lightweight flywheel. You can put the power down, roll through the gears. It's just a joy to drive.
And it's the best anti-theft device. You know, carjackers go, go on, go ahead, go. You know, steal the next guy's car. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people can't drive a manual. Let's open the hood and see what it looks like under there.
Okay.
Am I right down here?
Yep. All right, go ahead. There she is. So again, we have a 2-liter VTEC turbocharged engine, 320 horsepower. So it's at 6,500 RPM with a 7,000 RPM redline.
Right.
310 pound-feet of torque. But what's great, and I think you'll see this when you drive it, is that peak is at 2,600 RPM all the way through 4,000. So it's this really good punch in the mid-range. And that's kind of where you're going to be driving this car, and through the canyons and city, you want that mid-range power. But it's an impressive engine. You know, it's award-winning, and so, you know.
You've got it's transverse. I always laugh when I see that, because I went with my dad, taking my dad to look at another cars, you know. And the salesman showing the car, my dad said, the engine's transverse. And my dad says, why is this transverse? Well, you get more power. Why? Because it's transverse. And the guy didn't know what he's talking about. He said, you got the transverse, that gives you more power.
Yeah.
Well, how's it give you more power? It's transverse. I just remember that. Very funny.
But it's great. I mean, we have, you know, with the Integra Type S, you know, all of the sheet metal, you know, from the A-pillar forward is new. So you have a lot of openings here to help cool and feed the engine. All of it's functional. I mean, even this vent here in the hood you can see is functional.
Right.
So, you know, that's coming through this grill, coming up over the hood. And so there's just a lot of, you know, real functionality that the engineers really focused on in designing.
It's like
this.
psychological. I got it in my head that it's a small car, but it's really not. It's not a small car at all. Pretty good sized car.
It's a pretty good sized car. We were really diligent in keeping the weight down.
Right.
So it's 3,219 pounds.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And so you're talking about a basically 10.1
Right.
pounds per horsepower. So,
Yeah.
you know, really good power to weight.
Yeah, I'm anxious to drive it. Cool. All right, we can close that up.
All right. So out back is maybe one of my favorite angles, Jay.
Yeah.
So we've got these triple exhausts out there. There's 3 4-inch finishers lined up. Maybe.
Oh, that does look good. That looks good. Yeah, I like that.
So I mean, it's a really, really unique character. Makes this car look like nothing else on the road, and it sounds good too.
Can you adjust the sound from inside? Is there sport mode and all that?
So we have different drive modes, and what's nice is in the exhaust itself is an active exhaust valve. So
Right, okay.
that opens and closes and changes given the drive mode that you're in.
Wheels are nice as well. Are these unique to the S?
Yeah, unique to the S. Again, 19 inches in size, you know, 9.5 inches in width. So some really, really, you know, big wheels and tires. And again, to have 265 at all 4 corners on a car like this, it gives you excellent grip.
Yeah, you've got some. Yeah, plenty of room in the back as well.
4-seater positioning, so you know you can have your you know, your friends in the back. There's child latches. Take your, you know, I have a young son, so I want to take him to Cars and Coffee. And
How old's
so,
your son?
He's turning 8, so
Oh, okay. Oh, a big car guy?
he loves cars, right?
Oh, good.
So
Good. Well, I got some Hot Wheels. I'll give them to you.
okay.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm anxious to take this for a ride. Let's see how she goes. Well, plenty of room. What do we get the engine noise? Let's see here.
So let's go to Sport Plus.
There you
There you go.
Sounds good. Doesn't much on its own, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just amazing. Again, the level of performance you get in a car like this today.
I know, from 2 liters.
Yeah.
Well, that's about as nice a gearbox as I've driven. You know, I'll drive a supercar, which I'll remain nameless.
Okay.
And it was so notchy, you know, it'll take a while to break in. But this is just everything click, 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 very nicely dialed in. There's nothing more annoying when you're driving a manual car when you feel like you're pulling against something to get it to click in, you know?
Yeah, I think our engineers, you know, they focus on the pedal position, the placement. You know, the clutch isn't too heavy, right? It's
No, clutch not heavy at all.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. But you know, when you drive some early '60s Lamborghinis and stuff like that, they'll tell you, go first to third because the oil's got to get warm, or you're just not going to get it in second. You know, I mean, it's all these little rules. Yeah.
And I mean, just there, you got on it pretty good, and I mean, front wheel drive, no problems,
it's
right?
nice. Yeah. I just love not well thought out ideas. My favorite one we had on the Tonight Show, it was a real product. It was a tray that fits on here.
On the steering wheel.
And it's got a cup holder and a thing for your French fries and a thing for ketchup. And it's fine if you're going straight.
Yeah.
You got to turn off. You just dump it in your lap. Yeah, just so stupid.
Yeah. You wonder how many of those they sold.
Oh, you know people bought.
I just, yeah, right.
I guess the idea is if you're sitting in the parking lot and you're eating, you know, but who does that?
Right.
You know, the real truth of the matter is, there really are no bad cars anymore. They're just cars that are better than other cars. I mean,
Completely agree.
the fit and finish and manufacturing has gotten so good, you don't really get, well, you can still get a lemon because of some electronic fault or something. But
Sure.
in terms of mechanical stuff not working, I mean, when I was a kid, you got a new muffler every 2 years, 3, especially you lived in the East, like Michigan or Massachusetts or something like that.
Yeah.
It just rotted out. Now it's stainless steel, lasts life of the car. When was the last time you saw a muffler shop?
Yeah.
It don't even exist anymore.
Well, and to your point, I mean, the cars have so many ECUs and things like that now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just get under the hood and wrench away anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
although this car is somewhat friendly in that regard, but there's a dozen computers in here to control the adaptive suspension, to control the rev match for the manual.
Yeah.
So,
Nice steering wheel, nice size, nice feel to it.
okay. We have through the dealers, we have lots of accessories. You can get that in a suede as well.
Right.
So that's nice.
My trouble with suede is I'm always working on cars. Then you grab the steering. Oh, now the suede is all, it's all greasy and it's,
Yes. The maintenance is a lot. Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that this is manual only, because it just doesn't seem, no manufacturer sells that many manual cars except maybe Porsche. Well, Porsche, even Corvette's probably 2 out of 10 or maybe 3.
Well, yeah, and now the C8 went all DCT.
Right,
so.
right. That's all DCT. Yeah.
Yeah, we really have that kind of enthusiast base to pull from, though. Even the regular Integra, the manual transmission sales, when we opened it up for reservations, in the beginning it was over half the sales.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's obviously come back down now that the car's been on sale a year, but for given how many cars we'll try to produce, the market is definitely going to be there for it.
The mid-range is really great.
Okay.
In the old days, it was kind of fun waiting for the turbo light.
Yeah.
And then, and then it kicks in. You feel like you added another gear,
Right. Well, again, we're driving the Sport Plus right now, so that means the adaptive dampers are in there.
Right.
This is the roughest setting, which isn't so bad if you were to
No,
have
it's what I like. I like this setting.
Steering is a little bit heavier in this setting,
Is this hydraulic or electric steering?
It is electric.
Okay.
But the EPS tuning has gotten so good.
Yeah. This is what Mr. Honda would have liked.
I hope
For
so.
a while there, back in the 90s, suddenly it was disc in the front, drums in the back again. It's like, why are we going backwards here?
Well,
This decontenting kind of thing that was popular for a while. But now we're back to just pure engineering.
We're just happy because there's a lot of excitement for this car. The standard Integra, won North American Car of the Year.
Right.
It's been selling great. The customers are happy. So, now bringing all that, having that great foundation to start with, there's a lot of excitement for this. Right, and then no torque steer, right?
No torque steer at all.
It's amazing.
It's very good. It's very good. I mean, so many cars you get in initially, is this front wheel or rear wheel?
Yeah, and honestly, again, we're experts in all-wheel drive. We use it in a lot of our other products.
Right.
And this application, though, it made a lot of sense to go with this setup. I mean, save weight, save cost, still get amazing performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect family car with a guy who's enthusiast, but needs, just has one car for the family and everything. And this kind of does it all.
Yeah, checks a lot of boxes.
Well, I like it. It's fun because you can use all the power all the time.
Yeah.
If this was the NSX, we'd be doing 110 now. We'd be in jail.
Yes. Not that this car is slow, but that's what they say, right? Driving a slow car fast is fun, you know? And so I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it has a lot of power. You're not going to be disappointed if you take it to a canyon. Even if you took it to a track, I mean, it's totally capable with the...
I say this all the time, but all the fun is between 40 and maybe 110. You step out of that range, and then now it's like, okay, now you're going crazy, you know. Now,
Right.
Cops will cut you some slack.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you're reasonable. It just sounds so turbine-like, very balanced, really nice. I mean, it feels like a 6. If you told me this was a V6, I'd believe you.
Well, again, like I said, I mean, the power to weight ratio of 10.1, I mean, once you're in like the low 10s, you start to get in the 9s. I mean, that's some serious machinery, right?
Yeah.
So,
but even though this is in Track Plus, I don't find it a harsh ride at all. I just find it reassuring. I know, you know, it's kind of like you run over a dime, you can tell if it's head or tails, you know what I mean? You go, oh.
Yeah, I think some manufacturers have made their most aggressive setting almost unbearable.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to, you know, where you could leave it in this drive mode and really enjoy it. But if this was deemed harsh for someone, that's why we have individuals. So you could go in, change the suspension to a more comfortable setting, but still have the kind of aggressive steering and throttle.
You know, I like the traditional analog instruments because sometimes I don't want to have to look. If I know that the yellow needle's here, I know I'm going over 60 or 70. You know, same thing with the tach. A lot of people have just a screen with a bar going this way, and I actually have to take my eye off the road to look to see what it's doing. So I like the traditional analog instruments. I like the fact that it's not all touch screen. I think we're getting away from that. You know, I think we're done with, that's like, your car is ajar. Remember those? Your door is, but listen, Pop, the car talks to you, you know? Okay, that was fun for like a week, you know?
Right.
The English would say lusty. The engine is lusty.
Yeah, it's a good mix of analog and digital, I think.
See, if they made a little two-door coupe, a little low, you know.
Yeah. Well, it was tough, right? I mean, we as, you know, American Honda, we looked at it and, you know, but coupe sales are just so down.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so tough.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't remember, like when in '86, when Acura launched and Integra was there, it was a 5-door liftback like this. I mean, there was a 3-door as well.
Right. Well, it's funny because 4 doors does not have the boring cachet it did. You know, even the Hellcat comes in the Charger with the 4-door.
There you go.
And like to my generation, 2-door was always a cool way to go, and 4 doors means as a grocery car. You know, I mean, it just had, it wasn't as sleek, you know. Now it all seems to be about functionality, and this car can be all things to all people, you know.
Yeah.
You can put 4 or 5 people in it. You can carry plywood. You can do anything you want with it. I love this gear shift linkage. It's very nice.
Well, and from the regular Integra, we, you know, strengthened the internals, you know, as a lighter flywheel. You know, everything was tuned for this car, and so.
But people just have no idea how much work and research goes into getting it to shift just like that.
Just like that.
You know, you just touch your fingers, apply a little bit of pressure, and it goes in the next gear. Just so many gearboxes. You're just fighting it all the time. You know, you're putting in lighter fluid, not lighter fluid. You're putting in a lighter gearbox oil, you know. Yeah. Or lubricant.
Well, and to your point, a lot of times, you know, in those gearboxes, you preemptively put it in the second and then push it up to first to give, you know, because you don't have that confidence it's going to go right into first. Right. There's just so many automatic options out there, whether it's DCT, AT, 8, 9, 10 gears. And that's great. I mean, you can have a great daily driver, but like you said, there's just something about a manual transmission, and a good one, that just gives you this fun, you know, like you said, fun to drive and driver engagement.
It's hard to be a big car company and have your car be a cult. You know, probably the latest example of that is Tesla. It's like a cult. People get into it, they wait for the new thing to come out, they argue about it, they fight about it, you know. It was that way with Honda back in the 60s when you know, a lot of people didn't like them because you're still looking at World War II, you know, all those kind of things. But they were so different that I always admired Honda, because when so many manufacturers, when the pollution controls came in, manufacturers throwing money at cars, we're going to lose unions, we'll lose workers, nobody will buy cars. And Honda came in and said, what are the rules? What do you need? Oh, we need an engine to get 30 miles per gallon. Look at they came in with that CV.
CC.
Yeah, CVC transmission, and an engine rather. And it revolutionized the game, you know?
Yeah.
It met all the standards. Well, they did it, you know, why can't you do it, you know? And that's what I always liked about Honda. They're always that kind of company.
Yeah, you know, engineering first and innovative, and I mean, I think it's still very true today. I mean, again, to be able to bring this level of technology at this price point,
When Honda came to the United States with motorcycles, they said, we want to sell 5,000. And the dealer said, you'll never sell 5,000 a year. They said, no, a month.
Yeah, no,
a month. What do you, I mean, it had never been done before. That was crazy. And of course, they more than surpassed that.
Sure.
I mean, the early Honda believers became multi-gazillionaires, those guys.
Yeah, the dealers.
Because you were more or less just given it. They were so thankful somebody was taking the franchise, you know. And these are factory seats. These are not Recaros, right?
No, and you know, they're factory seats, but we've, you know, given them just enough bolstering so they hold you, but not overly.
I think they're more comfortable. I sit in so many cars that have these buttock clutching seats where I think, you know, come on.
Yeah, I mean, bucket seats are great if you're looking to hit the track, but if you're just on the regular street.
No, this is a nice compromise because it's comfortable. It's got more than a bolstering and padding on the side. I can feel where the wheels are and what they're doing. The steering is very direct. It's very good.
I know you've been trying out the acceleration. What do you think of the brakes?
Brakes are good too. Yeah, brakes are very good. Yeah, brake fade is something that doesn't even exist. I mean, I think if you're a new driver in the last 15 years, you don't even know what I'm talking about. That reminds me of my Honda 600. You're just cruising at $9,000. And people, oh, you're going to blow the engine. No, this is what Hondas do.
Yeah.
You know, Americans could never get used to revs. When they remade the Honda 2000, that went to $9,000.
Yeah.
Americans were always short shifting it, you know, and lugging it because you're not hurting it. It likes it. You got to do that. You know?
No, that was a challenge going into like downsizing turbos. Is, you know, you do have all that mid-range power, so you're maybe not as tempted to rev it out, but you still can, and it sounds great and it's fun.
But I love keeping this thing above 5. I'm only in 3rd gear right now.
Yeah.
So you must get pretty good mileage in 6 with this thing.
Yeah, EPA just released the numbers. Highway is 28. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, given how fast and powerful it is.
When you guys came up with this idea, was it a hard sell to go in the manual only? I mean, did you have, quote, what they used to call the bean counters just saying, no, you have to be, we need an automatic, you know?
Yeah, there was, admittedly, there was a lot of pushback, you know, but it kind of came down to, you know, because we also, again, we went with the name Integra, right? And so for us, it was kind of proving out that concept to say, hey, it's got to be fun to drive, it's got to have a, you know, lift back, and it's got to have a manual, and then we can call it an Integra, right? It can, you know, follow that successfully.
Well, Jonathan, thanks for bringing this by. We really appreciate it. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. And this comes out, it'll be on sale by the time this airs, so.
Yeah.
You got a long waiting list for these?
Yeah, so actually, you know, we're taking reservations at the end of May for deliveries to begin in the middle of June. So it's around the corner, and, you know, thanks for having me. I can't wait for.
Well, thanks for coming, my friend.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.